is going on, everybody? Welcome in to the North End Podcast, episode 132. My name is Zach Graham, your host here in the North End, joined, as always, by my good buddy. He's on record as my best friend. His name is Ian Michaud, and we call him E, a.k.a. Lee James, a.k.a. Sebastian Drew Easy, a.k.a. Easterdamus, a.k.a. Pap E, O'Daniel, a.k.a. The Fashionista, a.k.a. Chili Willie, a.k.a. Joe E. Chestnut, a.k.a. Ian Stonkel. I don't think I have to ask you how you're feeling today. Are you still as pumped up as I am coming off of last night's win?
I am. I can't shake it. I don't know how I possibly could. That was one of the most incredible things I've ever seen live in person, be it soccer, basketball, baseball, football, anything along those lines, music, concert, whatever you like to go enjoy on your own time, man. That was just absolutely stunning. So proud of these dudes for fighting back, for showing so much grit, being down 2-0 to a team we should have been up on, and then to get those three quick goals in succession like that is just absolutely fantastic. And I don't know, man. I usually try to think of like something kind of witty to say at the beginning here when you ask me how I'm doing, all that, and I'm at a loss of words. That last goal by 10 is it's an all-timer. I don't know where it ranks. I'd have to go back and check my notes and go into the history books, but man, that's up there, way up there. And man, we're riding high. We asked for a happy pod weeks ago. Now here we are with back-to-back happy pods, just really rolling. So man, I'm loving it. I know you are too. We had a good time last night.
Yeah, man. And again, I think there is, I think we can get into a little bit later in the episode, like still the wide view of the reality of where this team is at and what is to come. But just in the vacuum of, like you mentioned, not just last night, but the last couple of weeks has just been a breath of fresh air after months and months and months of just, kind of somber feelings. And we're looking ahead to the summer and the next transfer window and the next transfer window. And like, it's just, the guys took care of business in these last two home games. Again, like we say, we don't care how you get it done at the end of the day. That's for the players and the coaches and everybody who's officially involved with the team to worry about. We got the 3 points, and as fans, I think that's all you can ask for. We can get into the analysis in a little bit, but you needed 3 points here, and they got it.
They got the job done at the end of the day, at the last strike, man, and just to be on the other side there after we've had some heartbreakers go the other way is just, it feels so good, man. And if you love this game, if you love soccer, you're a fan of Austin FC, you're a fan of this game in its entirety. So like, to be there, to be involved with that, I mean, I don't know everyone obviously I don't know every person who's in the stadium, but I feel like 98% of the people, 99, that's the best goal you're ever going to see in your life, like live like that, like just incredible, man. So I know that, like, with this schedule and how it's all set up where we have, one game a week sometimes. My roommate's having a rough go of it here, boys.
I was going to say, you got the COVID going on over there?
I don't know what. We're going to have to give him a test here. But, just to be able to respond and to just continue to show this fight, man, I'm just so thrilled and so excited. And just to be involved, be a part of it was incredible.
Yeah, I agree. And again, it's about the game state, right? The way this game played out does enhance the quality for a fan experiencing that last goal. Like, to your point, right? Like, I'm hard pressed to find more goals, especially regular season goals. That I guess we could just get this out of the way. We don't have to wait till we come to this point of the match in the breakdown. I was fucking crying.
Yeah.
Like, not like it was just from like smiling so much for so long and the rush that we got when that goal went in.
Yeah.
I think the only time I've ever legit cried from happiness in my life when it comes to sports was when we made the state tournament my senior year of high school. And that was on a buzzer beater. But that was like legit, like weeping tears of happiness. This was like a couple were trickling down my face, but like uncontrollable emotion. It was awesome.
It was a party, man. It was such a blast. And like I was getting at a little bit there, like you have these games like once or twice a week, and you get to sit in the happiness or the shit for a little while. So like, I am more than content to keep these good vibes rolling, like keep the happy levels up. Like it's just fantastic, bro. I feel so good.
Yeah, you never know when you're going to go through another 3-month stretch with no wins. So
Exactly.
we savor all victories, we celebrate all victories, and let's go ahead and move in here to the episode and talk about what happened last night and a couple other things. Before we get to anything here, if you've got 5 seconds, rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, if you're watching on the YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button. It helps us grow the show. And of course, you can hit the notification bell to know when a live stream pops up or a new episode goes live. And of course, on this episode, hit that thumbs up, like the video, help us battle the YouTube algorithm overlords, which you can also do by leaving a comment and joining in on the discussion. Any and all of that you would do for us. We greatly appreciate. Wash yourselves clean in the confetti of the North End. So Friday night, we did a little darts with some buddies. Profe showed up, which was great. Great to see Profe. And come home, a little late on Friday night and surfing the Twitters and come to find, like at 1 a.m, that there is an Argentinian outlet, specifically a journalist named Uriel, and I'm just going to butcher. I'm not even going to attempt this name. His last name is IUGT. So Uriel, I apologize. Yeah, IUGT. I see you working that one over in the brain. Got nothing for me. But Mercado de Pases is the outlet that he works for, their Argentinian website that looks like it handles or just kind of reports on and has a database of all of the Argentinian moves in terms of football in the country. So, right, like 90,000 followers for this site. So they're not nobodies. So went ahead and took his report that Austin was in attendance or had scouts in attendance for the matchup between Newell's Old Boys and Boca Juniors yesterday down in Argentina. And his report, Uriel's report, was that Austin FC was specifically scouting 20-year-old Argentinian winger Brian Aguirre. And Aguirre, if you just go to his transfer market, right, we don't rely on transfer market because they rely on the wisdom of their community. That's a direct quote. But the value on this Aguirre kid is $8 million. As a 20-year-old, I believe, going off the top of my head here, I believe he had 5 goal contributions in 14 appearances for the Argentinian U20 national team. So again, like, this isn't messy or anything, right? Yeah. And I think far from it. You look at his stats with Newell's Old Boys, who he has been with that club since 2015, came up through their academy ranks. And apparently in that same report, there was an unnamed Premier League side also in attendance, reportedly interested in Aguirre. And if you go back to last summer in July 8th, Cesar Luis Merlot, who's another popular soccer reporter, he tweeted that there was interest between Inter Miami and Brian Aguirre when Tata Martino took over the job. So again, this kid has been highly sought after, continues to be. And so we posted that at 2 a.m. So wake up on Saturday morning. Of course, that rumor has now disseminated amongst the Austin FC faithful. And then our boys at We Are Austin also uncovered another Argentinian down there who does not have anywhere near the following that Uriel from Mercado de Pases does. But this guy who is at Lucas with 2 S's, 2744 on Twitter, he reported that Austin was also in attendance to scout 2 other Newell's players, Ian Glavinovic, which it would be cool to get another Ian, and I should say a Ian on the team, right? You're on the team, you're with the team. But Glavinovic not the most Argentinian of names. He is Argentinian, and then Francisco Gonzalez. So both of those guys, Glavinovic, a center back, 22 years old. I believe, from my understanding, again, off the top of my head, of the U22 rules, he does not turn 23 until after the MLS regular season ends, which I think is the cutoff for that U22 slot. So maybe a prospect in terms of filling one of those roster spots for Austin. And then Francisco Gonzalez is a right winger who is 23 years old. So, and again, both of those guys have about right around $1 million, $1.5 million in terms of their transfer market value. So one of these things is not like the others. Brian Aguirre, I think, is the one you would absolutely want of this trio. But again, it's interesting to see mid-season, things coming out like this about Roto's new team of scouts and what they're up to down in South America.
You love to see it, honestly, and obviously when you get that message from the Argentinian outlet there, and you hit me up, and I'm watching this dude's highlights at 1:30 in the morning, a little bit intoxicated, just getting super excited. But we know something's coming, and it's just, even if this doesn't come to fruition, to know that we have these scouts across the world attending these matchups between class clubs. We're talking Argentinian football. We're talking the best in the world, so it's great to see that, we're involved and active in this, and you see the Premier League teams potentially involved. It brings me back to, when we're first talking about Seba, and he's also linked to Leeds, and he ends up coming here to Austin,
Yeah.
So we have some potential here to be a player in this game here, and I'm excited for that. We know that reinforcements are coming in this summer window. We aren't entirely sure where they're coming from outside of Dessler, which we're very excited for, and just being able to juxtapose the position of wanting to build towards this summer window and stay within striking distance until we can revamp this roster. Because again, correct me if I'm wrong, but we didn't fill out the bench again, right?
Yeah, we did not. We'll get to that in a second here.
We're still
on a bye week for FCito as well.
We're still in this position where, we're not even filling out a full roster right now. And once you're able to get some more solidified, valid contributors at the MLS level, you can really start to see this roster flesh out. And in Roto, we trust, man. Anything that he's on, I'm all for it. He's got my full support.
Yeah, I mean, you look last night, you get 2 goals from the runner-up for MVP 18 months ago, and then you get 2 goals from Roto additions. So again, you're seeing that play out. Hodder finally gets one. We know Diego Rubio has had one. Biru gets his second. We'll talk about all of that. I guess we can just jump in. The one thing I would say on Brian Aguirre, if you go looking for highlights you haven't seen, you go looking for more on these kids, and you haven't really taken a dive yet, watch the Aguirre highlights. It's much more attractive than just the stats on paper. That's all I'll say
for sure
about him. So jumping into last night's match, we got the injury report on Friday. Nothing crazy there, no surprises. So full steam ahead. And we do get the exact same 11 out there. We had discussed some potential changes there. No issues, obviously, running back the same group that just had success in the same venue against a Dallas team that was beat up, the San Jose team a little beat up as well. So what were your thoughts? Because again, I believe this bench, like you said, did not fill it out and ran the exact same guys back in terms of who was available off the bench. The one difference we did have here was you still had Hector and Hader on the same side with each other, Johnny and Owen on the same side with each other, linking those fullbacks with the wingers, but you shifted you switched sides. You got Galley and Owen on the left now trying to handle Christian Espinoza coming down that right, Hodder and Hector to the other side. So any additional thoughts on the lineup?
I mean, this is how you build some consistency here, and we were on our way up to the game, and we're doing our, pregame shenanigans, looking through lineups, trying to see what we're going to get and everything. And we couldn't remember the last time we rolled out the same 11. And it was the right call, this group proved themselves in that Dallas game. I don't care who they had. They came out again, deserved to be this starting group, and it ended up working out. So I like this 11 a lot. We're dynamic. We're more young. Obviously, Johan had been playing great to start this season, but the difference between what he and Pepe bring to the pitch is just night and day. Obviously, Johan has that very strong presence defensively, but Danny is just able to do things with the ball that Johan cannot. And being able to push that ball up to 10, just even if he didn't get the brace, how hard that man played last night and how badly he wanted to win that game. And for him to get it at the stroke of death, the stroke of midnight was just, it was just incredible, and he was chasing down balls in the 100th, the 97th minute, going after the keeper, trying to get the rock back and everything. And I was just so happy for these dudes, man. You saw the emotion after the game from a lot of guys, and it was really great to see that. I was so so incredibly thrilled for everyone who was involved with that.
Let's go through this game a little bit here as we do. We'll start in the 3rd minute here. Hector takes a quick throw in here on the right sideline near midfield. Alex Ring breaks through some pressure after receiving that throw in. He starts this transition opportunity, getting it out to Owen on the left. Owen plays Driussi through, and he puts it off the trailing defender and out for a corner. On this corner, you've got Owen over there, Danny frequently there as an outlet for a short corner. And you see the set pieces continuing to be, mixed up, mixed in, and trying to give the defense different looks. In this one, you get Owen putting it towards that near post where Hector is making a run. Owen trying to put it on his head. It gets cleared out for a throw, but Austin stays in possession. They end up winning another corner after Driussi plays Ring into the box down the left. Very similar plan of attack there. This corner gets played short to Danny, a little give and go with Owen, and Owen puts it right on Julio's head on the back post. And Julio almost replicates that kind of floating goal that he had last week. But Yarbrough able ultimately to gobble this one up. But again, Austin on the front foot early.
I really liked the way we started this game. We set the tempo, we set the pace, and we were threatening to start. And, it felt like something was going to break and we were eventually going to get through there. I want to see a little more clarification on these corners, if they're intentionally being played a little more short towards that near post so that we can get a flick on and then get a little more scrum action going on there. Or if Owen is also now, getting hit with the Rigoni, we can't get it over the first defender. I'm not entirely sure. From the amount of times we went that close to the near post, I would say it's part of the game plan and part of the set pieces that we've been working on. But we see the short corner there, and that actually got that was a short corner with intention. It gave Owen some space to work and everything, and then he gets a really good ball in there. So I was satisfied with both of these attempts.
Well, I think we've seen a lot of this misdirection, whether it's if we've got a free kick up above the top of the penalty area where Danny's faking towards the ball, trying to get those defenders to take a step or two, and then Owen swinging a ball in, or like you said, these short corners with intent where, I think at times in the past, maybe you're kind of just throwing shit against the wall to see what sticks. But I thought more often than not, I guess I can't say Owen was 100% accurate on all these crosses, because I think he did put a few in along the way that weren't, awesome. But that first corner was absolutely the way Hector was darting and making that near post run. That was absolutely intentional. So, and I thought more times than not, Owen put some dangerous balls in there. And again, it's, I think, just his second game on set pieces, right? So for what we've seen from the first two outings in this scenario, I've been pretty pleased with it. But I think even his level of play on the wing over these last two games has been the most impressive thing to me, and how he is unlocking that final third with his movement and his passing especially.
Yep, I got an active mooch over here right now, so I don't know if anyone's hearing him.
That's part of the North End, baby.
Gobble up this entire bowl of water, but yeah, he wasn't hitting 100%. I'm not trying to imply that in any sort of the way, but I just like how these are looking now. This was something we were really frustrated with last year, these set pieces and how shit they continuously looked. And now you see the little, we're getting different angles. We're pulling the defense out of position. We're trying to make something happen. It's a little more creative. It provides a little more dynamicism. And to your point on Owen, man, just his improvement from last year to this year and the way that he's looked, it has been such a welcome sight, because he just adds a new element now. This is a new element that we have when we're working him into these winger positions, and add a new position to his list, because now he's playing left wing, he's played right wing, he's played right back. We've had him in defensive mid positions, we've had him in attacking mid positions, and not all of them have worked. And I don't expect all of them to work when you're talking about a 19-year-old kid, but he has continuously improved, and he knows the game plan. He knows how he want to play this, and has been excellent with his passes in the attacking third. Excellent.
Yep, I agree. And the stats bear that out, as does the eye test. 8th minute here. Brad gives us a little Stuvino, little Ole there on the 6-yard box. getting it away from a charging Abobasi. Then in the 10th minute, San Jose gets a 3-on-3 break here after Abobasi has a nice flick on off of a Yarborough goal kick. Christian Espinoza gets onto the ball, turns and charges towards the top of the box. Danny wins the tackle here, and Austin takes off at the foot of ring. He plays Diego Rubio near midfield, who taps it onto Obrian, and Obrian gets taken out by Tanner Beeson, who gets a deserved yellow card there. And not far from the last time we saw a player on either team taking somebody out to stop a break. We'll talk about the main one a little bit
Some
later.
more egregious than others, for sure.
Yeah. So 20th minute here, where to this point, Austin has 100% controlled this first 20 minutes of the match. But we've seen this story before, and people around us in section 123, that's where we started. The buzz started to be like, man, we are just this script. We've seen this script before plenty of times. And here in the 20th, San Jose builds up into the final third. A wayward pass by the Quakes does give Hector and Julio both chances to clear it out here. Hector gets beat to the ball first by Kekanovic, and then Julio's sliding clearance attempt is blocked up into the air. It falls to Brendan Hines-Ike, and his headed clearance goes right to the foot of Espinoza, and Espinoza wastes no time driving towards that end line, past Gallagher, puts in what I can only deem to be a great cross right to the back post where Paul Marie is unmarked for the opening goal. And he's unmarked because I have no idea what Julio Cascante is doing here after he makes that clearance attempt that gets blocked up into the air. And it's not the last time we're going to talk about Julio. And look, man, he has been awesome to this point of the season. He's also allowed to have a stinker or two in a 34-match season. But this one, we cannot have any of these other games. You're not going to win games with individual defensive performances like Julio Cascante put in last night. I thought he was asleep the entire match pretty much. And it was a step back for him. Again, not taking away from what has been a great start to the season, but a little bit of regression the last two games here from Julio, and in a big way last night. And you got to see that turnaround going forward.
Absolutely. And all the credit needs to be given to him for how hard he has worked and how well he has played throughout the entire course of this season thus far. But last night, he had inexcusable plays, and this is inexcusable play number one, because, if you have a poor clearance, the ball gets deflected, goes up into the air, you can't really do anything about that. That's out of your control. But like when you just let the guy who you are parallel with just go completely unmarked, not get to that back post, be in your defensive position, and then a great ball comes in from Espinosa, and boom, you find yourself down 1-0. It was just really inexcusable from Julio. And unfortunately, it was not the last inexcusable play that he had last night. And, we knew coming into the game. We saw Brandon Hines-Ike talk about it. This is a San Jose team that likes to play high up the field. They're aggressive in their attack. We knew that they could give up a lot of goals, and they kind of have this trade-off where like they're willing to force the action. And our first big mistake here, and they make us pay for it. And, fortunately, obviously we're able to bounce back. But like you said, you can't get away with that too more often than not. Like, you're not going to win games when you have plays like that, where it's like, this is an effort and understanding play. Like it's a scramble now. Yeah. Find your man, get a mark, find your zone relative, but have your head on a swivel. Know that somebody's going to be coming into that back end or back post crashing. And he just loses it. Just loses his man. And poor Stuve.
Yeah. There's nothing he can do there. No. And then on their next possession, 22nd minute, Quakes switch the play from left to right. Espinoza fires a shot at Brad from just outside the box, and Stuver spills the save, but Julio's there. He hits it to Galley, who's just standing on the edge of the 6-yard box on the right there. But Akapo takes it off Johnny's foot, and he fires a shot at Stuver that Brad is able to parry out for a corner. And that second save was impressive. That was a good save.
Oh, it was a hell of a save with the left, left-handed.
I believe so. Yeah. No, with his right. Unless he was reaching across his body, because the shot came from right to left, so Stuver's diving to his right.
Okay, I thought he might have come across his body, but still, whatever. It was an incredible play and a fantastic save that really, you let that one go by. It's whew.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and we weren't out of the woods yet.
Yeah.
24th minute here. Austin getting out in transition, but San Jose recovers nicely. Obrian can't find space to get his shot off at the top of the box, but he gets it on to Danny out wide to the right. And Danny takes a touch, lines up a shot that goes just wide of that back post. But Danny doesn't get too many opportunities in the 18-yard box like that. And I thought he did, he didn't put this one on frame, but he was trying to pick out that back post, and he came damn close.
It was a good strike. They're not all going to go in, but it was a very good attempt. And it's a welcome sight to see him to be able to get that, because he has to do so much defensively and has to work so hard. And, to be able to have the chance to get a goal there is always a welcome sight from Danny. We love seeing that stuff.
26th minute here. Paul Marie puts the moves on Hector Jimenez down the left, slots a shot past Stuver here, but this ends up being reviewed by VAR and ultimately ruled offside. Apparently, Benji Kikanovic, like inches offside during the buildup, and Austin gets extremely lucky here because it was it was a good move by Marie and a very good shot. But in this moment in particular, I think Hector showed his age a little bit there in that one-on-one moment with Murray.
It's one of the limitations of Hector, and we knew that, coming into this game, and that he was going to have some tough assignments with how hard they wanted to press the ball forward and everything like that. So yes, incredibly fortunate and incredibly lucky here because, we were watching it from our position in the north end and didn't look like anything to me, obviously, from where we're looking. And, to get it called back once they start reviewing, like we see the guy go to his ear. But I will say this about the refereeing last night. I thought outside of like maybe one or two stretches, there's one that comes later in the second half that's really bad. But I thought that he was in control of this game. It was a physical game. There was a lot of, extracurriculars going on with Diego, which is always
that's every game, right?
It's gonna be every match. So I do want to give some credit to the refs for being mostly in control of this very intense contest.
Yeah, you get the head official, who I believe is Lucas Spa. I don't remember his last name. I think first name Lucas. But anyways, like you mentioned, he does start handing out a ton of yellow cards here to end the first half, trying to get control of this game, which I think, to your point, I think they did fairly well there as a crew. 29th minute, Gallagher does get the yellow late in on a tackle on a capo. Then 36th minute here, Austin in possession, right side of the offensive third. Hector loses the ball in traffic, but then he wins it back right on the edge of the box and gets it to the feet of Hodder Obrian. I think it might have just kind of been a deflection off Hector trying to get that ball back, but Obrian darts towards goal, slots it home inside that back post. Crowd goes nuts. And Obrian goes over to that family section, picks out his baby, lifts her up, does the Simba celebration, and then these bastards rule it offside on VAR. And man, look, man, I just think rule change proposal. If a guy does the Simba celebration with his child, review's over.
Rules are gone.
And just like for the second time in as many matches, Hodder denied a goal by review there. And so it was a tough break, but the right call, because technically Hector does graze Marie, I think, with maybe two toes, but there was contact, so I get it.
Yep. Initially, when we saw it, I was furious because I definitely did not think that was worthy of a foul call.
It looked clean from our angle, right?
It definitely looked clean from where we saw it. And then we went back and watched the replay on the phone and everything like that. And I was okay with it. It was a foul, just like they were offside. So that kind of neutralized one another. And I was, it's good that it wasn't something that, ended up costing us the game here. But yeah, with Hodder, man, first, he's been playing wonderful. He's been playing really great. He's finding his groove. He's way more comfortable. You see the connection with 10 still building, still developing. And then, to be able to bounce back after, this is his second or third goal.
It was his second
that has been taken away, and to stay focused and stay ready to do your job. Just a big shout out and kudos to him.
40th minute here. Marie and Obrian get into it again. Both of them get yellows after Obi is fouled on the right edge of the San Jose area on this free kick. Julio loops around a defender towards that near post, and Owen puts it right on his head. And then Julio, though, a little bit wider. I think he was further to the right of that post than he thought, because just kind of directs it straight on, and it went wide. But again, dangerous set piece there with intent once again. And then the 6th minute of stoppage time here, Austin, another sustained period of pressure to end the half. And Hader kind of whirls around near the end line to split 2 defenders and puts right across the middle of the box. It gets touched out towards the top of the area, and Seba gets just a little window and pokes the shot way wide. And you and a number of other folks around us thought he should have done better with that. On the replay, I think it was kind of just a split second. It can go a section away, or it can end up like it does later in the match and kind of banana into the back of the net there. So I didn't hold that as much against him as maybe we did in the moment.
Yeah, obviously in the moment, a little more frustrated, a little more upset. The skill cap the guy has, and he shows it later.
Yeah, for sure. So into the second half here, and in the 53rd minute, Austin shouts for a handball after Driussi found some space on the left, crossed it right to Obrion's head, and his headed attempt gets deflected off of a defender's arm here.
It didn't look natural.
Man, and even if that is in like quote unquote a natural position, as much soccer as we've been watching over the last few years, I'm still confused on almost a weekly basis on what exactly a fucking handball is in the box. Yeah. But to me, if it hits somebody in the arm and like the forearm, it's not like near the shoulder. There's no confusion there. He's bending down. He's trying to make himself bigger in front of the net. The attempt is on target and it hits him in the arm. It's on target if it doesn't hit him in the arm. So to me, and the announcing team for Apple last night was also a little bit perplexed why that wasn't called. I don't think it's the most egregious non-call in the world, but I think that more times than not, I think that's called a handball.
I'm right there with you, man. It is like a gray area. I don't understand how it seems like, objective calls sometimes just based on what referee staff were working with. Easily could have been a PK, just easily. So again,
check out, look at our Jorge from Club Deporte. He took this photo last night and shared it this afternoon. That's a handball.
It's definitely a handball. That's not natural. Look where his arm is. That's a handball. Yep. That's tough.
Well, yeah. But again, they escaped nonetheless. And they keep the pressure on here because nobody's pouting about it, right? We get right back to it here. 57th minute, Ring gets to the end line on the left side, putting the pressure on, cuts a ball back towards the top of the area, but there's no Austin guys to be found. So it was a good idea, but the Quakes able to cut it out and start the break down the left. Beautiful pass here by Chakiris to Abobasi. And Abobasi takes a shot. Stuver able to block the first shot, but it spills again. And Abobasi, the dreaded Abobasi, taps home the follow-up, his 5th career goal against Austin. And on the celebration, the San Jose subs go behind the goal to go celebrate, and Amal Pellegrino picks up the on-field microphone and points it towards the North End Pirates, trying to pick up their talk there. And I don't know, how'd that work out for you, Amal?
Well, we let them know about it. Yep, the dreaded Abobasi, dread it, run from it. It comes either way. He's getting his goal on us, and a tough bounce, a tough break. Stuver makes a great initial play on it. It spills, goes right to him. But I think when you look at this from our standpoint, our team, things that we need to do to improve, to be better, we are poor in one-on-one defensive situations.
That's not new.
It is, and it was clearly a point of emphasis in the offseason. Like, we were trying to not find ourselves caught in one-on-one matchups with either our fullbacks or our center backs, trying to mark a guy man-to-man and get a stop, which I know is not a super easy task if you're out there on an island, anything like that. I don't know, who's going to have the highest percentage of actually being able to dispossess somebody in that situation. But it's just, this was the worst game the defensive unit has had all year up until this point, because they have been very solid, but all 4 of those dudes along the back line struggled mightily. You and I got into half an hour debate about this goal later on, whose responsibility it was.
No, that's the third goal.
Yeah, the third one.
Yeah, the Pellegrino one. This is
Yes.
the second one.
I know, I'm saying later on.
Okay.
Yeah. And there was some poor defensive plays and they capitalized. Like, hats off to them. Like, when we had some errors, they made us pay for it. And this was just a good counter that they hit us on. That's how they like to play. And unfortunate. And really, couldn't be lower at this point. Just felt like the door had been closed. We're getting trolled by a guy who has only played 74 minutes all season. Like, it's just, it was times were rough, bro. And, the feeling was interesting. Like, the feeling from that initial first, like 20, 25 minutes, what have you, where it was like, okay, we look really good, but we're about to get scored on. And then going into the half, I was like, we're winning this fucking game. Like, I was super confident of it. And then this happens. And, all that confidence was quickly evaporated. But again, you can only respond, and we fucking respond in a big way.
Yeah, 59th minute here. Obrian on the right side of the offensive third. He puts a ball into the box that Carlos Gruezo receives, but then Diego Rubio kind of nicks it off him. And Gruezo, when the ball gets stolen from him, kind of sticks his leg out. Rubio feels the contact, takes the contact, goes down just inside the box. Penalty called. It does get reviewed, penalty given, and Driussi slots home the PK. And Austin's got life. And then taps William Yarbrough on the head on his way back to midfield. And you noticed that when it happened. And I don't know. I encourage that behavior.
I mean, Yarbrough's clearly trying to stall and clearly trying to get into his head. So, and like you said, this was the game right here. You missed this PK, this game's probably over. Like, if he gets a save there or something like that. For Seba to get up there, get that goal, man. And now we're talking life. And then you look at this game now, you could throw everything out that had happened before this, because this game changes entirely. It becomes wide the fuck open. There's all kinds of runs, hectic plays, and it just was, it was a heart, stopping kind of finish to this game here.
Well, I feel like it was, we heard Coach Wolf say on Thursday that the one thing they wanted to avoid, they don't want this game to become up and down, wide open, a transition type game. But when you go down 2-0, that's kind of what you're setting up for. And that's how it progresses here. So by the time all of that, the review, the delay tactics by San Jose there, we put the goal in 62nd minute. Biru comes in for Hector, and Austin on their next possession wins a throw on the right side after Obrian had led the break up that side. And John Gallagher sets up for the long throw, hucks it in there. But Jeremy Abobasi is the one that skies up to get it. He heads it kind of straight up. And then Rodriguez, the center back, does the same. Both are poor clearances because especially the second one, because it falls right to the feet of Hot Air, and he volleys it out of the air past Yarbrough right from 6 yards out. You can't take that away from him, VAR. And so Hot Air celebrates. All of a sudden, we are tied in the span of about 90 seconds. And then you see on the replay this morning watching, they clocked Hot Air Obrian at 22.4 miles per hour last night.
Ooh.
That boy fast.
All right, bro, the composure to get the laces on this ball and to put it in the back of the net was just absolutely fantastic. Again, he had the earlier one called back. Just awesome, man. The response was absolutely fucking incredible.
Yep. But they're not done. 67th minute here. Austin back on the front foot. Owen turns down that left sideline and gets space for a pass to Ring. And then Alex sends a ball from that edge of the area right to the spot where Tanner Beeson clears it out. But Guilherme Biru not only pounces on this ball, but steps in front of Driussi to one time a rocket
blast
past William Yarbrough. And nobody in that building can believe what they just saw, what they've just seen over the last 3 goals in 5 minutes to take the lead. Rubio turns and pumps his fist to the supporters section. Biru takes a lap down that near sideline from the broadcast angle. Stuver picks him up once he gets back down there to the north end. Man, the party was on.
Bro, absolutely. And God, this Biru kid, man, You can
gotta
just
love him.
I don't like he is just shooting up the charts for me. Like you absolutely have to love him. The confidence in your ability to be like, yep, I'm putting this in the back of the net. I just came in the game, brother, but this is like what I do. And just a perfect strike. Like, and I don't care if that was Danielle or Daniel or Danny or whatever. Like, you're not saving that shot, man. And he just has a joy too. He loves this game. I'm a really big fan of this kid, and I'm very excited to watch him to continue to grow and develop. And when this game opens up like this, and like we talked about, we felt like we were the better team going in. When you're the better team going in, you want to be able to control the tempo, control the pace, and that was our stance to start this game. Control the ball, be the threat, and not let them hit us with this. And then this game completely changes. We steal all momentum is stolen from us. We then take it all back, and now we're about to give it back momentarily here later on. But man, just what a ride! And I'm so happy Biru's here.
Well, and I also think, and I think you brought this up last night, going back to what Brad Stuver told us on Wednesday's episode, right? That Biru is one of, if not the funniest guy on the team.
Yeah.
And he just got here, and that he hired an English tutor, and he's trying to assimilate more to his new surroundings. And the fact that we've got this guy now paired with Diego Rubio, these two seemingly just large characters on this roster now. Like, I just think that, again, these guys are bringing some of again, I don't expect the results to be anywhere near 2022, especially not just because we won 2 games, but going back to the beginning of the season, right? Try to keep it all in perspective. But those two guys are bringing certain types of vibes that I think we only felt among this team during that season.
They have tenacity, they have bite, they have confidence, and it's infectious, man. It's contagious.
Yeah,
and it has definitely carried over to the other dudes. And man, it's really fun to see.
Yeah. 69th minute here, Christian Espinoza working down the right. Biru's in there one-on-one, blocks the first cross attempt from Espinoza, then gets up. This is a sliding block, gets up, blocks the second cross attempt, and he blocks it off of Christian Espinoza out for a goal kick. Stuver, pumped up, comes over, gives him like a little half noogie. Everybody else is jacked up. I mean, it was quite a 5-minute stretch for Guilherme there.
The vibes were immaculate.
70th minute, Pellegrino and Skahan come in for Kokanovic and Morales. I mean, Morales was nowhere to be seen last night.
Nope.
But these two guys that sub in absolutely made their presence known. 73rd minute, Stuver grabs a headed chance out of the air and throws the outlet pass to a streaking Danny Pereira down the left side. Danny plays Hodder in past Amal Pellegrino. Yarbrough comes out to make the kick save. And it looked like Hodder was actually offside. The flag did come up. But he also had John Gallagher wide ass open by himself. And so, I know it would have been called back either way, and maybe he didn't see him. But the play is very clearly just put it across into the box and John can walk it in.
Yeah. And the initial ball from Danny is late, which is why Hot Air is offsides there. And he was definitely off. And, accounting for Hot Air speed is something that, we really haven't had the chance to do. Yeah. So like being able to time those balls precisely. But yeah, you pick your head up here, you find Johnny on the other side. And like you said, that's an easy goal.
Well, so flag goes up, but play doesn't stop because San Jose recovers off that kick save. They work it all the way down the field. Stuver grabs a long ball kind of harmlessly at the edge of his penalty area and restarts quickly. All of a sudden, we've got John Gallagher down on that right side entering the final third, but it's a 3-on-5, so we don't have numbers, and he goes at the defender that was marking him, loses the ball, in my opinion, way too easily, and then San Jose turns and takes off down the left on their own transition break here. Skahan receives a ball. Amal Pellegrino overlaps him on the left. Danny follows Skahan as he cuts towards the middle. And then Julio just ignores Amal Pellegrino. Skahan slides it onto Espinoza, who wastes zero time getting the ball to – look, we love Seba. Amal Pellegrino has a pretty darn good goal-scoring track record in his career as well. You could make the argument he's the most dangerous offensive player on the pitch who is just by himself. And then a class finish to just kind of roll it out of the reach of Brad Stuver, and we're tied. But you mentioned that you and I got into it last night over a play. this was it. I will let you know, everybody I have asked about this play this morning has sided with you, so I will cede to you. You are correct. But my thought on this play, and some other things were pointed out to me that I found interesting. My thought on this play was that Danny Pereira, who was guarding the ball there, should have gone and rotated back to the right back position because John Gallagher was out of position. And your point to me was he can't do that. He's on the ball. He can't just let Skahan drive towards that middle. And that makes sense to me. But then, we're putting Julio at right back. And shit ain't getting done if Julio just ignores. Freaking Landon was giving Heinz Ike props for having object permanence on the Moontower episode last week. And Julio is doing the opposite of that throughout this game. Again, I have no idea what he was doing. But so what was pointed out to me here, was that potentially it should have been Sebastian Driussi tracking back into Gallagher's spot. And if you watch the full replay, you got to go back to that full replay of the game and not just the recap. Driussi just kind of gets passed up. And I do see that now after it was pointed out to me that he should have been more involved defensively on this play as well. But again, it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, Julio should have at least checked over his shoulder. He doesn't. And if you give Amal Pellegrino that much space, he's going to score 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, that one really hurt because we were definitely chirping at him pretty good after his microphone thing, and we went up there. Yeah, look, it starts with Johnny, right? Like this is just not the smartest decision that he could have made trying to go one-on-one there. But the guy had help, and it wasn't even a very advantageous angle. And my point was that's got to be Danny's ball, but then you have to understand situation, understand this transitional kind of defense. And that's a big ask for Seba to get all the way back to that right back, especially in his much more forward position at this point in time. So, I don't think there's one guy you can point to here and be like, it's on you. It was a failure on multiple levels. I think the pressure on the ball, once Danny did stay with that ball, needed to be a little more critical because we're in a bad spot here. We're in a tight spot. We got to eventually push the envelope to get this ball out of this dangerous zone. Julio, this one, he's got to be more aware.
Terrible, dude. That was terrible.
You got to be more aware, brother. It doesn't even matter if it was Pellegrino. It sucks that it's Pellegrino, obviously being able to get the ball there. But this is a wide open professional soccer player who we're putting the ball on, and a good strike. Absolutely nothing Brad can do about it. And back down in the dumps again, really. And then at this point, I was just like, all right, it's a point.
Can we just not lose?
Can we not lose this game? We'll take the point. This has been an absolutely fucking wild game up until now, and it continues to stay wild.
80th minute, you get a double change here for Austin. Zardes and Finley, in for Rubio and O'Brien. Then 86th minute, Julio out of position here, trying to win a ball near midfield, which opens up Pellegrino wide open again. He gets fed by Espinoza. And here, Stuver makes a great save to bop it away because Pellegrino with that right foot, man, he was clearly trying to just curl it every single time. And that was another great save, I thought, by Brad.
Surgical. Pellegrino's great on the ball like that. Both of these strikes were very, very dangerous. And thank you, Bradley Scott Stuber. God, thank you. Because, and look, we've talked about the field players being able to respond, going and getting these goals, 3 in quick succession. You give up a goal to Pellegrino, right? Like you're Stuver. What's in your mind? This dude's bearing down on you again. He just put one on the ground, and then he puts a little loft on this one. And for him to be in the moment, doing his job, had moved past the goal, which really wasn't his fault. He gets up after that goal, and he's like, "Hey, Julio, what are you doing? What's up, bro? What you got going on here?" So great job, Bradley Scott. We needed you right then and there, and he showed up. He delivered.
Yep.
We're gonna have to scrub this. We're gonna have to release this video of you and I arguing.
Oh, right. Yeah, we do. Yeah. So
unless you're gonna scrub it like LeBron and Jordan Crawford.
No, we ain't scrubbing that. The lovely Annabelle, my fiance, was apparently recording us sneakily around a corner last night because we were screaming at each other at 1 a.m. 88th minute here. Off an Austin long throw. Espinoza picks up a loose ball in the far end of the box and plays Skahan through. Brad Stuver comes all the way out, good 20 yards outside of his area, takes out Skahan, does not make contact with the ball. And man, if that's a red card, I don't think we have much of an argument. It ends up being a yellow because I think the officials accurately deemed that Brad was not the last man back, but he doesn't make any contact with the ball. And it was inches from definitely being a straight red. And I don't think I fault any San Jose fan that's saying that should have been a red, because if we were on the other side, I would be screaming bloody murder that we should be up a man. So again, both teams get very lucky in multiple instances throughout this game, and this may have been the biggest piece of luck that Austin got on the night.
Yeah, dude, this game had everything, even a RKO out of nowhere from Stuver.
Yeah.
And dude, it's funny because we talked about his play. Obviously, was in high school. We talked about his play on the field, and like I felt like he could have just like actually gotten the ball off of him.
Yeah.
In this, like, it really wasn't like this dude had turned the jets on and was like beating him around the corner or anything. He just comes out and just gives him the old Brock Lesnar. Like, good Lord. And yeah, I do want to get your boy Thomas Viola's opinion on that one, because I'd be furious as well. So very, very fortunate. Thank you, soccer gods. We'll take anything we can get.
I spared TV any smack talk text last night just because I know how bad that feels on the other end. The way they lost that game. But I'll text him after we finish recording here.
He's probably over it.
Yeah. We did get 10 minutes of stoppage time, and the whole thing is wide ass open. We'll just go ahead and skip right to the end here because there are chances aplenty for both sides. Not super clean chances, but again, it's up and down. With the San Jose subs, they made 2 subs in stoppage time here, who took their sweet time, Abobasi and Espinoza, getting off the pitch. In the 8th minute of stoppage, Mooney and Buddha come on here for those 2. So we get to the 11th minute of stoppage as the official gives Austin one more possession past the 10 minutes. Stuver launches it long off the goal kick there. Seba brings it down out of the air. Good control there, dropping it to Danny. He finds Gallagher on the right. John lofts it towards Giassi Zardes, who is just inside the top of the box, kind of boxing out his defender. And Giassi takes what is an absolutely controlled touch with intent towards the feet of Driussi, who had made his way to the top of the area, and Driussi takes a rip off the bounce. It knuckles into the back of the net, and pandemonium.
Mayhem. Could not believe what we were seeing. Stuver drops to the ground. Danny's screaming. Everyone's yelling. You're crying. I'm standing up on the chairs.
Yeah,
it's a party in every single section of the stadium. I mean, again, I don't know if I've ever seen a better goal in my life, given the context, given how that game had played out, and we've been talking about earlier in this season. Like, at some point in time, you're in a game. You might have to throw the game plan out the window and just go play some soccer. And that's what happened in these last 10 minutes of this game. Like, it was just a free for all, and for it to culminate in this way. I mean, we talked about it today when we're, kind of coming down from the high from last night, like what the win probability percentage had to have been at that point in the game.
0.1.
It's just, like minuscule. And for Seba to score this goal off the bounce with a just perfect strike. There's congestion. It's clogged in there. Obviously, San Jose is doing everything they can possibly try to do to just preserve this point here on the road. Yarbrough has no chance. It's already in the back of the net by the time he dives. And man, that's 2 games with a full go at 10, bro. And he looks damn good.
He does.
Damn good.
Leading the comeback victory, which is the first time in club history that Austin FC has won back-to-back matches from losing positions. And we talked about last week after the Dallas match that we had maybe underrated a little bit of the fight that this team had shown, just because we did not have a win yet. We have recovered from losing positions now in 4 of our matches.
Yes.
4 out of 7. So again, don't ignore the fact that we've been in a losing position in all but 1 of our matches.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But the fight is there. And again, that is a very big difference from how this team operated, how they stuck together and kept their heads up and put their heads down for the full 90 minutes. And it's sometimes 101 minutes. Because you never know what can happen, man, if you keep fucking playing. And they have shown so much more fight. And that is, to me, a very encouraging thing to take away from this first, almost quarter of a season.
I 100% agree. The willingness to continuously compete has been there throughout, and we do got to figure out how to come out a little better, how to come out a little stronger. I know that it's looked good. It hasn't produced anything quite yet. I think that can eventually come. But like, clearly these boys are getting some good pep talks in the halftime locker room. Like, we are coming out like with some real tenacity every single time. And I also think, like, credit to the new guys that we talked about earlier. Biru, obviously, who, gets into this game later, but Diego, that kind of infectious mentality that he has and everything, and a lot has been made about the defensive errors and some of the really poor defensive plays. But the way that this game opened up in this second half here, particularly in the last half hour or so, it put us in exposed positions. It put us in positions where we are definitely, our players are not particularly suited to be guarding one-on-one situations, to be finding dudes transitionally in defense. And that communication has to improve and has to get better going forward. But you've set yourself up really nicely with a brutal stretch coming up here. And you have to be happy with that, right? Like, if you're a fan of this team and not happy with last night's performance, like, I don't know what else can happen for you. I don't know how else this team can win a game, because it's never going to be perfect. We have 11 individuals out there who are responding to gameplay in flow, trying to make their own decisions. And like, it's just something that it's never going to be 100% perfect. It's never going to get to that point in time, but we continue to show grit. We continue to show fight. Sure, there's things to improve upon. Sure, there's things we have to be better at, but every team's going to get lucky. More often than not in this league, you're playing a team that's beat up. Like, that's how this goes. Injuries happen throughout the entire course of the season. So I am just ecstatic, thrilled, excited, elated, everything about how hard this team has played. And to get, Brad talked about it in the interview. He said that win versus Dallas felt like the first domino to fall, to kind of get a little momentum going forward. And that was stripped away when we're down 2-0. Like, you can't be, like, that momentum was gone. Yeah. And for us to respond the way that we did, just hats off to everybody, even the guys who had some rough games. Like, hats off, because we kept fighting.
Yeah, absolutely. 61% possession for Austin. I wouldn't call that all good possession last night. Is it a little bit different against Dallas, where you're controlling the entire thing from start to finish? But 61% possession. Nonetheless, 15 shots to 14 in favor of Austin. So the second time in a row that Austin has outshot their opponent, just barely. And San Jose with the advantage, 8-6 in terms of shots that were actually on target. 9 of those 15 Austin shots were in the box, but half of their goals came from outside the box. 2 big chances for Austin. One of those missed. And then 2.91 XG for San Jose to a flat 2 for Austin. And again, 0.79 of that 2 is Driussi's PK. So you were thoroughly outplayed on XG as well, which again is everybody's favorite stat till it isn't. But again, I think it was telling that there was a significant amount of luck involved in this result. And like you said, you got to take that when it comes. You got to be happy with that and accept it, in my opinion, as a fan, just like you have to accept the bad luck that a shot in the 96th minute at the death against St. Louis deflects off Ethan Finley's inner thigh. And if it didn't, would have gone right to Bradley Stuver, and you get 3 points there. So again, it's a give and take throughout the season over season. And at the end of the day, it usually ends up, just kind of coming out in the wash. So I will take the victory. Again, I would just love to, and again, everybody can fan how they want to, right? But after a game like that, I would just think, like, you are working hard if you are not just let yourself be happy for that night.
Absolutely.
And I see a lot of, maybe not a lot, but some fans just like, whoa, pump the brakes, this and that. It's like, yeah, but there's time for that. It's immediately after the match, like, celebrate, man. Like, if you can't be happy after last night, you just want to be miserable.
I don't get it, but yes, we can get into. We're going to have to face all of the bad plays and poor decisions and areas that we need to improve. That's still going to carry over and everything. But like in this moment, you just saw this fucking a game winner, essentially a buzzer beater in soccer. And it's just, man, ain't nobody bringing me down. That's for sure.
Yep. Yeah. So Sebastian Triusi now owns both the earliest and the latest goals scored in Austin FC history. A couple quotes from the press conference. I am taking these from our buddy Phil West at Verde All Day, so we're not going to read anywhere close to all of the quotes that are in his next day article here, because it is, as always, fantastic. So again, go subscribe to Phil if you have not yet. But Coach Wolf obviously had a lot to say last night. I watched the press conference in full. Again, I think he was a little bit more upbeat and positive this week, a little bit more confident, maybe a little bit more, for lack of a better term, a little bit more arrogant. But again, you get 2 straight wins. Now you're feeling good. He said, I think wins like this galvanize the group, galvanize the city, galvanize his fans. And we know fans, media, owners, they care about winning. How we win, I'm sure most of you guys could care less, talking to the media. But he says, I care about, that's my job, and that's Roto and I. We have a philosophy of how we want to do things. But at the end of the day, it's about winning games. You guys, again, as I said, remind me all the time when the losses pile up. But when you're winning, it feels good. And then, of course, reporters get to go into the locker room now. So we did get a quote from Diego Rubio, who said, when we lose games, when we tie games in the last minute, we are the ones that suffer the most. Fans, yeah, I get it, but we suffer. We're self-aware. I'm playing this game to win. So, of course, we take it very personal. And he said, following that loss against Orlando 2 weeks ago, he said, we changed the mentality. We were a couple of new players. We needed to know each other. We didn't have Seba. I didn't play with Seba, which is something we were talking about after that game, where the first 2 appearances from Seba, the continuity, the chemistry, the connectivity was not there between he and you guys, and that has improved game over game. So the further you can continue increasing that chemistry, the better this offense is going to be. So, of course, you're going to get the more positive, uplifting type of quotes from the coaches and players after 2 wins, especially after you win like that. But again, it's good vibes right now, and we press forward.
The locker room seems really good to me, honestly. Like, obviously, we're not in there. We're not, we don't have the full scope of everything that's going on, because there's all kinds of emotions. It's very high, very low. Like, and when we're down, like he talked about, losing to Orlando SC the way we did, we're miserable for a week. And I can imagine how difficult it is on those guys all the time to be dealing with that shit. So, like, it feels like there's a good kind of, we've put some nice games together. Yep. Job's not finished. We've been unlucky. You got to deal with that, and we've taken it in stride. And I'm just really happy for those dudes to get this win and be able to really enjoy themselves for this week.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm glad that they are on the receiving end of some of that luck. Breaking their way over the last 2 weeks and taking advantage of it. So, anything else for you on this match before we go ahead and close out the episode with some best keeper in the world?
No, sir. It was amazing.
All right. Well, you saw him on CBS yesterday. Let's talk about
the best keeper in the world.
Damian Loss and Louisville City taking on Indy 11 at home yesterday. So again, broadcast on CBS. Of course, Damian gets the start, and they do get another victory, 5-3 win. This game was extremely entertaining. It was up and down. It was contentious. There was a Damian Loss against Aiden Stanley, current former Austin FC showdown. Those guys getting in each other's face. Damian got a yellow card for his troubles. But the 3 goals he gave up, one was an own goal, one was a penalty. So only one really truly from open play there. And you get 5 goals from the offense. They remain undefeated. You love to see it. I think all in all, from what I saw, and I only got to watch the second half, another good outing, and they remain again at the top of the table in USL.
That team is cooking, man. You're scoring 5 goals and you have a keeper like Damian back there.
Yep.
Like, that's a recipe for success. So more power to him. And, we're still pulling for you, D, man.
Yep, absolutely. Oh man, I honestly, we could shift the focus back to this game and kind of wax poetic on the feelings of last night, the happenings for another hour or two. But we'll go ahead and say our goodbyes here and head into our week. Heads held high, and on Wednesday we're going to preview a St. Louis City match on the road, where another team we still have not beaten, and we owe these guys, especially after the way that game broke a month ago.
We owe them so much.
Yep.
It's not even just the month before.
Yeah.
Or the first game with Kippy, or the 6-3 thrashing.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot that we can, we've been getting stuff checked off the list this year.
It's
Multiple
true.
comeback wins, took care of San Jose. So, we'll shift our attention to what they're going to be bringing to the table come Wednesday. Get ready for that preview, and then be right there for our boys once they get that first whistle off the pitch there.
Yes, indeed. Wednesday, previewing the St. Louis City match. We've got a double St. Louis meeting, St. Louis City 2 in Austin this Friday to take on FCito. So we will preview that match. We will talk about all the Austin FC happenings in between. And, of course, the nonsense, which, hint, hint, went pretty fucking well for us this week. So enjoy the beginning of your week, everybody. We will do the same, and we will see you back here on Wednesday evening for another edition of the North End Podcast. Until then, he's E, and I'm Zach. Vamos Austin FC, everybody. Goodbye.